actually gonna be like 6 more minutes before we start.
Sneaky has been afflicted by the Ian curse.
Oh,
Oh,
please.
good
Sneaky is the EN curse.
Oh my god, by the
I
way,
really...
speaking of which,
Wait,
the iris...
Sneaky.
Yeah.
You should hit him up.
Yeah.
See if you
Yeah.
can become the VTuber known as the EN curse.
Yeah, I know,
Oh,
right?
Your streams are nothing but your streams are just constantly like you've just got like
Twitched.
the lag switch, the camera stutter switch, the break the model switch.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah, I know, right? It's funny because Iris, literally, the start of her debut, she started out great playing the clip. The clip had audio. She was trying to do this whole, like, descending from the heavens thing. She was muted twice. Had to restart third take.
Oh,
Ah,
okay then.
she's truly
Tradition
part
is
of the
being kept
EN
up.
family.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I don't know how much I'll be able to watch her because her voice is like super ultra perky. Like I don't think she's
Yeah.
faking her voice much, but by God, is it perky?
Yeah. No, she's not. She's not.
I know she's not
there's-
fake,
Yeah.
but there's
You-
only so much perkiness that my jaded, cynical bastard ass
You know,
soul can handle.
You know, Renai circulation? Is that how it's pronounced?
Renai circulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
She
her.
well, I don't think it's her who actually sung it, but she made a cover of it and
A really,
that's
really,
103 million views.
really popular cover of it. Yeah.
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 We already know who she was.
Yeah.
So
She accidentally doxed herself before she even started.
yeah, but then like fucking Sam immediately knew
Well, yeah.
the moment you heard the voice.
When you have a video that has 130 million views, it's gonna be kind of hard to hide. It's like
Well,
Snoop Dogg
yeah.
being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna start a new artist under the name Snoop Lion, and no one will know it's me."
Well, I mean, yeah, except
Now,
the
hold on a minute.
singing
That's
is a bit
completely
different.
Everyone
Yeah.
would be able to identify Snoop Dogg by the constant cloud of weed.
Also true. Also true.
Very true.
But like, yeah, singing voice is a bit different from normal talking voice.
Well, I mean, sure, yes.
But she was a VTuber for a while back in February to May, and already had a
I mean,
decent fan base.
Literally, her debut started with her singing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
They
I'm
literally
aware.
were like,
I'm
"Look,
aware.
guys, it's a singer."
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, she is the singer.
she is the V singer. Yeah.
Literally.
Yes,
title.
I know she's a singer. Jesus fucking Christ.
Hello, internet. Welcome to Fanfiction Contempt Theater. Where we
It's
talk
like
about
talking
everything
to
but
a retarded
fanfiction.
fucking wall.
Yeah.
This is what episode 56, I believe. Yeah,
The
That's
number
what you got
says so.
listed.
that's the number that I wrote, and therefore it is what it is. So,
That, can't
I
wait
got,
for that number to be wrong.
I got Zeke's. Oh, it's been wrong for a while. Remember, there was that 1 3-month period where I was actually off. I was either higher or lower than the actual episode
Every time.
for the
Yeah.
entire 3 months straight. Yeah, it was good times.
It was kind of beautiful, actually.
Oh god, it was a bitch to upload the video because I was like, wait a second, I already have episode 93 there. So that means this is episode 94, and that's episode 95. Oh shit, how many months does this go on for?
Is that...
Too many.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
close my blinds on that.
Yeah, don't question it. So another
Just
thing you
don't
shouldn't
look at the
question.
chipmunks in the yard.
Yeah, another thing you shouldn't question is I got Zeke's program working again after
Oh, no.
crashing it
Oh.
twice.
Oh
As you do.
boy. Why would
We're
you
in for
do
a ride,
this to
boys.
all of us?
And then I reported the bug to Zeke's on his special Discord for his program, and his response was, "I'm not gonna do anything until someone else has this problem besides you."
I mean,
That
that's
is
fair.
fair enough.
Based version. It's true.
I'm like, okay, fair enough.
All right, let's check the bug report. Oh, Sneaky reported something. Ignoring that.
Ignore.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, having Naruto be part of a secret paramilitary squad makes sense. I mean, he is part of a secret paramilitary squad.
That's the point.
Oh yeah, he is. Huh.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, so my point with saying that was, I mean, I got a lot more shit.
Yeah,
Boy,
shit's being
is
the
it
keyword,
shit.
as usual.
So we're gonna start with a story that a lot of people like, and I thought that'd be a great way to start the night is by pissing in everyone's cereal.
Face.
As you are wont to do.
Yeah, as I do, yes.
Oh, oh yeah, this one.
So
I saw
this story.
Was
So-
this post on the SDM? Or
Yeah.
wait, you posted it?
Yes, I
Yeah.
posted it on there.
Yeah, I
'cause,
saw. Oh
Yeah.
god.
So this story has 6,649 favorites. 6,000. It is a 500,000 words long. 22 chapters. And it doesn't even make it to the Chunin arc.
Oh yeah, that
Wow.
one that you. Hmm.
Marked
Oh, my
completed.
Sure.
So,
Completed or dead completed?
I have no idea.
Yes.
I don't really care.
Humanity may never know.
Never underestimate the power of good advice.
You
I think
can't
the
tell me
point-
what to do.
No, hold on. I think the point of giving good advice is that you are properly estimating the power of good advice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the only reason
Yeah.
why you would give someone good advice is because you believe that your good advice is good advice?
True.
Like, who would underestimate the power of good advice? Like, that.
I mean, if you
Um,
don't think it's good advice, then sure.
Well, yeah, but
Well,
then
no,
that's
the-
not
the-
good
the-
advice
okay.
then.
That kind of destroys the
Yeah, that
premise.
destroys the premise.
Exactly. So yeah. Off to a great start.
I mean,
aren't we?
like,
Yeah. Off
I
to
could
a great
see-
start here.
I could see a wizened old veteran telling an arrogant youngster, "Hey, man, I'm trying to help you. Don't tune me out."
I'm trying to help you
What?
stop being an asshole.
I'm not really sure what this would lead to
Like,
with this summary here.
Like, maybe
because-
never underestimate the worth of good advice.
That's
like,
probably a better way
sure.
of putting it.
Like,
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
see that because it's like someone gives you good advice and you're like, oh, well, this will only help me with this thing. And then it turns out it actually goes way farther than you actually thought it was going to take you. And that's underestimating the worth of it, which is completely, a reasonable thing
I'll be
to
right
say.
back 1 second.
But never underestimate the power of good advice. If you think it doesn't even work no matter which direction on this one, because if you think it's good advice, if you think you are receiving good advice, then you're not underestimating the power of it, because you think it's good advice.
I'm pretty sure this would be aimed at someone who doesn't think it's good advice.
But then it's not good advice.
Yeah.
No, that's not how that works. So, okay. 40-year-old stockbroker trying
Right.
to give advice to a 20-year-old up and coming.
Right. But,
Okay.
The
but
40-year-old
Max,
knows it's good advice, but the 20-year-old hearing it doesn't agree. That
Right.
doesn't mean it's not good advice. It means that it's
it means
difference in
it's not
value.
good advice to the person's perspective. So if the 40-year-old had reworded that advice in a different way, it might have become good advice to that 20-year-old. It's just how the
Okay,
person was giving the advice, it made the 20-year-old not think it's good advice.
Okay, that still doesn't make it not good advice. That just makes the
That's
20-year-old
from
a
an
little prick.
outside perspective, Max. I'm talking about from the
Yeah.
perspective of either way, from the person getting the advice or from the person giving the advice. Not from the third-party perspective.
Yeah. It's a subjective valuation.
Okay. Well, the third party outside and the first party giving would still view it as good advice. Like,
Yeah, but
never mind.
that's not
Never
the point
mind.
though. The point is that the receiving party
The point
needs to think
is
of it.
that either
Yeah.
way, if the person who is receiving the advice doesn't believe it's good advice, then they're underestimating the power of the advice because they don't believe it's good advice. If they believe it's good advice, then they believe then it's powerful. You know what I'm saying? But you the giver, wouldn't underestimate the power of your advice if you believe it's good advice. You, the observer, the third party, would not think, oh, this advice is going to go nowhere, because you think the advice is good. So you're not underestimating the power of the advice. The only time the advice would be underestimated the power of is when the person doesn't think it's good advice. And the only person that can think it's not good advice in this situation, whereby they would be underestimating the power of it, would be the receiver.
Yep.
So either way, it's either really poorly worded or it's incorrect. And poorly worded.
Yep.
A few wise words into a pair of young ears. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. That just feels slimy.
It's a bit, yeah.
Leads.
They could have worded it just a little bit less skeevy.
There's so many different ways.
I don't want to think about it anymore. Thanks.
And leads a young would-be ninja to a decision. A would-be. Naruto really doesn't have the option of not being one, but okay. The Leaf will recognize him. Okay, but that's not where you use a semicolon. If anything, that would be a colon situation. The Leaf will recognize him, but not as a fox. But that's literally canon Naruto's plan the whole time. Literally, Naruto didn't even know about the fox. He was like, I want to be the Hokage because everyone respects the Hokage, so I want to be the person everyone respects.
Because everybody shits on me and I don't know why.
Right. But, literally, there's nothing canon even hinting at the idea that Naruto wanted to be recognized for being the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi.
Yeah.
Because, and we'll say it again for the people in the back of the room, he doesn't fucking know.
Well, even when he does learn, he's still like, and?
Yes, true.
Now separate from my other story, Win Some, Lose Some, which I assume is his one-shot section. Win some, lose some. Bits and pieces are the best things in life. Non-related Naruto one-shots. Yeah. So he decided to write 22 chapters and 500,000 words out of a one-shot story. So, already first off...
Over 90 years. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta respect the grind at least.
I mean, yeah, you gotta respect the
result.
grind, but at the same time, it's like, maybe if you stopped grinding those swords down into literal powder, you would actually have a sword at the end.
Yeah.
So then his author's note was completely just copy-pasted. He didn't even bother to make a new author's note for the fact that the chapters are now separate from the story. Because he goes, okay, by the success of the fake Chunin exam arc a few chapters back, I've decided I'm going to make loosely linked chapters that tell a story under the name in the chapter lists as Timok, Mouse of Konoha. So basically he's saying in the drop-down menu, all the Timok chapters will be marked Timok to show that they're a connected series of one-shots. And instead of getting rid of this part in the author's note, so people aren't like, what the fuck are you talking about? He just leaves it in there. which is
Literally fucking 8 years later, it's like, yeah, we'll just leave that note in there.
yeah. He really likes semicolons, and that's going to really shove a shiv through my eye.
Excellent.
Um,
British.
yeah. He really likes semicolons, as in, so sit back, grab a drink, and get comfortable. Doesn't even properly use commas, but boy does he fucking spam semicolons.
Oh boy.
So, comma, sit back, comma, grab a drink, no comma, and get comfortable, semicolon, welcome one and all to the Naruto show. Why is there a semicolon?
And
Yeah,
that's just awful.
bruh. Throughout his life as a ninja, Naruto Uzumaki would be the first to admit he was blessed with a plethora of great ninjas that served as teachers, confidants, friends, and commas in the wrong fucking place, buddy. In some cases, the family the orphan Jinchuriki had never known. From these ninja, he had learned many varied and different lessons in all topics from love to fighting and everything in between. You know, so I was never a really big fan of the phrase and everything in between. And I suppose I'm not a huge fan of it because of how often people misuse it. Because what's between love and fighting? What subjects do you consider between love and fighting?
I have returned.
Hmm.
I assume I've missed nothing
The
important.
inevitable downslide of the marriage, Sneaky.
Probably. So,
Yeah.
so the author says he learned everything from love to fighting and everything in between.
There's
What
not a
is-
lot of.
Yeah, what comes to mind when you think of what's in between love and fighting of skills you would
Felony
learn?
murder convictions?
Probably. That's fair enough.
I was gonna say domestic abuse, but that kind of is the fighting part. So,
And yeah, I was talking about how I really
Still working
hate
on
the
that one.
phrase everything in between because of how often it's misused. Because what's in between love and fighting? And everyone's giving me meme answers, but like that's the truth though. Of like,
yeah.
what else did he learn, author? What do you consider between love and fighting?
Vigorous masturbation on a lonely night.
Apparently, it's such a pointless statement because you can use the phrase like he learned everything. He learned all he could from cooking to war fighting and everything in between to show that he learned a really diverse set of skills effectively. Because it's like, well, cooking and war making have nothing to do with each other.
I mean,
Depends.
kind of true, but
yes.
also kind of not true.
Exactly, but that's the best example I can think of, like where you're trying to give two really contrasting skills and being like, and he learned everything else in between. Saying like, yeah, he just learned a wide variety of stuff, and that's why it's what I'm saying. I really hate the phrase because of it's just so not good at describing things.
Yeah.
Semicolon.
Can we start executing people who use semicolons wrong?
I would appreciate that. Yeah, I think we can make a change.org petition.
Sure.
Change.org petition. Kill those people who get semicolons wrong.
Yeah. However,
now of course the real kicker is in your petition purposely put in a wrong semicolon.
Exactly. And then everyone who signs it we execute.
Based.
However, if one was to ask Naruto Wait, hold on, wait. So Naruto, from Naruto's perspective, if one was to ask Naruto, he learned a lot of things from a lot of people, and they were all really important to him. And then you say again, however, if you were to ask him. So the premise of this paragraph starts with Naruto talking about all the skills you would have learned. And then for some reason switches to you asking Naruto, what's the most important skill that you learned? But he's already talking about that.
Yeah. If you had some patience, you might get to it.
Yeah, basically, yeah, probably.
Sneaky, have patience? How dare you insult his good American values?
Indeed. If you ask Naruto what his most important lesson was, even though he's the one fucking reminiscing right now, so I guess he's thinking about himself in the third person, the answer probably would have surprised everyone who knew the blonde maelstrom. That's another word I absolutely loathe when people use to describe Naruto. Maelstrom.
Yeah.
It's
Wow,
so...
Naruto's a fucking whirlpool.
It's, yeah, it's...
Literally a swirling bit of water.
It's so fucking overused now in fanon. It hurts to see. It's just like I rank it a little bit lower than his deep blue, ocean blue, cerulean orbs.
Topped by his wavy blonde hair.
You're right.
I'm sorry, did I stumble into a German recruitment poster? Or is this just...
Jawohl.
His sun-kissed blonde hair. Yeah, it's just like, oh my god,
I'm sorry, I can't. You know, I'm having trouble
Banfield.
differentiating my youth fantasy novel from my German propaganda, and I'd like that to change.
I'd like that to stop, please.
Too bad. We are here to stay, yeah?
You shut the hell up.
Any opinions on this, Max, so far?
I don't want to be here. That's about it.
Well, you can leave.
Unfortunate.
Too bad. We're going
Don't
in.
want to be here yet. Here I sit.
Yes, indeed. The lesson Naruto judged as being the most important thing he'd ever heard came not from legendary ninjas such as Kakashi. Wait, what the fuck? The most important thing he ever heard? Okay. Not from the legendary ninjas such as Kakashi Hitake or words of wisdom. This is such an awkward long sentence of just restating the same thing. The best lesson he ever heard was not words of wisdom. It's like, yeah, I'm assuming people spoke to you.
Yeah.
I'm assuming their best lesson wasn't just guttural animal noises or some shit.
Well, I mean, no, it was not just
his
best
most
lesson.
valuable lesson came from a Tuscan Raider.
No, Sneaky. His most valuable lesson was how to return to monkey. Booga booga.
Indeed.
His most valuable lesson was this is the way.
Do you know that way?
By the way, the amount of Knuckles and Mandalorian memes is both pleasing and disheartening.
Or words of
God,
wisdom.
Yeah, probably shit out of those. Ugh.
Well, hold on. Let me lather in the punctuation this author is doing.
Uh-huh.
I would appreciate you
lesson
not
Naruto
lathering anything
judged
anywhere near me.
As being the most important thing he'd ever heard came, comma, not from legendary ninjas such as Kakashi Hitake, comma, or words of wisdom from the late, comma, great, no comma, Jiraiya the Toad Sage, semicolon. Instead, comma, the would-be Rokudime, the would-be as in not, would-be means he's not. Rokudime Hokage would pinpoint the day, comma, even the minute, comma, of learning his most important life lesson as the time when an old ramen vendor leant over his Bart and swiped his empty bowl from under his 4.5-year-old customer's nose, comma, end paragraph.
You forgot the link, by the way.
No, and
Just
then
saying.
Ichiraku dispensed to him the mightiest words of wisdom. More waifu will ruin your lifeu.
There, I linked it.
That's a nice link, man. Very cool.
I don't think that's the link I'm looking for.
Hmm.
So, just to start off here, by how he's used these commas in this massive paragraph-spanning sentence of his, effectively, this sentence could also read, "The lesson Naruto judged as being the most important thing he'd ever heard came, or words of wisdom from late great Jiraiya the Toad Sage."
Yeah, that's 7 commas and 1 semicolon in one sentence.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Not even
My
great with
soul
that, man.
hurts.
Yeah.
Hey, end quote, comma, space, lowercase the child tried to snatch the bull back, but, comma, as he overbalanced, comma, was forced to focus his attention on suddenly not tipping over the stool he was sat on, comma, space, quote, no uppercase, what gives Gigi, comma, there was still broth on there, end quote, period.
I am in hell.
Doing a real good job of just
This is
mercilessly beating the
sheer agony.
soul of. Yeah, like. Great. Thanks for reminding me why I will probably never become an English teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll have to read shit like this on a daily basis.
You'd have to restrain your urge to falcon punch the closest child.
I don't think I'd ever get that bad, but there might be some desk throwing.
You know, I had a teacher that threw desks at children once.
That's the lawsuit.
All I'm gonna say is, embrace the every teacher gets one. Every teacher gets to murder one child.
You know, this was the same teacher that also duct taped the same student to the desk later on.
I like
Kinky,
this
but alright.
teacher.
What? Why though?
Because this guy
Why
was
not?
a piece of shit. This student was was a piece of shit.
I was gonna say, hold on, I really need you to clarify the teacher, the student, or both.
Yes. Both of them were pieces of shit. But the student was a piece of work that even I can't get irritated at the teacher for doing this shit. So, but
Okay, look, if
even
Sneaky acknowledges someone is a piece of work, boy.
Yeah. One day, this kid literally paperclip, like catapulted. You know, you take the rubber band between your fingers and you pull back with a paperclip and you like shoot it forward as a projectile. He did that to the
those
teacher.
assholes.
Yeah, he did that to the
no.
teacher.
Why?
Okay. Did he adjust it so that it had a point?
I have no idea. All I know is he was doing it the entire class and the teacher was telling him to knock the fuck off. And he didn't. And then at some point, is I was kind of zoned out. Like I checked out like at least 30 minutes ago, and I snapped back into awareness. I snapped back to reality, some might say.
Did you snap into a Slim Jim?
And the teacher's
There goes
fucking
gravity.
yeah. The gravity left
Thank
for a
you,
moment.
Art.
Yes, gravity did leave, in fact, momentarily, because as the
For
teacher's
that child.
screaming at this kid, the kid gets out of his seat and starts fucking sprinting, and I look over at the teacher because he's like, "Rah!" throwing the desk. And then
How
he's
did you
fucking books it out of the classroom after the kid down the hall, screaming, "Get back here, you little shit!"
That's great.
Amazing.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
love
like,
that.
oh boy.
He was asking for it. Oh, I feel like I feel like we'd see less stupid shit in the public school system if teachers were allowed to actually apply certain kinds of discipline again.
Oh
Like,
God, yes.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
growing up,
yeah.
it was just an understood fact in high school. If you start a fight and the resource officer and the gym coaches come over, you stop, or you're gonna be on the ground faster than you can fucking blink. And God help you if you take a swing at one of them as they're trying to break you up.
It was understood. You take the swing at them when they're trying to break the fight up, you deserve everything that happens to your dumb ass.
I got to watch the ROTC drill sergeant fucking lay into two jocks. That was a god tier fight. God damn. That was like a Hollywood tier fight. Holy shit. Ah, good days. Good days. Fucking throwing them into lockers and weaving around their punches and shit. Oh man, it was good shit, man.
Primetime entertainment.
It was fucking solid.
Listen,
man.
it's not like they could afford like TV channels in New Jersey, so yes, it was.
No, we just stole it from New York. It's all right.
I was gonna say little known fact about New Jersey. Everyone there has a bootleg cable line, not because they can't afford a real TV, but because New Jersey itself is bootlegging its cable.
Yes, the entirety of New Jersey actually bootlegs its cable. That's why our internet's so bad.
Amazing.
They're all running a VPN from New York.
Why?
It's a joke, Greg.
Why would you ever go with that?
So, there was a few drops, nothing more. End quote, comma.
Drops of
QG
what?
smiled, comma.
Blood?
Immune, yes.
Broth?
Immune to
you know-
Naruto's annoyed pout by dint of long exposure, and ruffling the mop of blonde hair, as the boy tried to glare up at him, comma, space, and, quote, lowercase anyway, comma, you'd be better off now, Naruto-chan, dash, the Hokage might get worried if you're not on time, end quote, period. Space, sorry, new paragraph, quote, space, Gigi knows where I am, end quote, comma, space. Where's this word of wisdom, author? When are we getting to the wisdom words? Why are you giving us this fucking pointless scene? So anyway, blah blah blah. Sorry, Naruto. Sorry. To his amazement and dismay, comma, however, comma, his second favorite GG in all of Konoha after the Hokage himself, merely shook his head, comma, new paragraph, sorry, Naruto-chan, comma, no more, end quote, semicolon, no ramen, semicolon. It was the end of the world as far as the 4.5-year-old could see, comma, new paragraph. I would like to remind everyone that 6,000 people favorited this story.
Yeah.
Alright, Jesus Christ. Holy crap. Author, is this really your words of wisdom? Is this really what you're going with for your words of wisdom, author? So anyway, blah 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 blah. Naruto, what would happen if I fed you for free every single time you showed up? He's like, come on,
I don't know,
Naruto.
Naruto might actually get a decent feeding.
To the 4-year-old, he keeps saying this. Come on, Naruto. Think about it. What would happen if I fed you for free every time?
4-year-old, I don't know. I probably wouldn't be hungry no more, mister.
Yeah, literally, that's what Naruto says. And he's like, well, you see, Naruto, if I fed you for free at every time, I wouldn't make money anymore, and I would go out of business. Yes, apparently feeding one orphan for free would run him out of business.
But Sneaky, feeding people for free is communism.
Yes, this is what the author's getting at, yeah. So hold on.
It's based.
No money, that means your stand would collapse. It's okay, I'll pay my tab, don't go out of work. Yes, this is the words of wisdom that
Ah, yes. Basic mechanics of exchange.
the ramen chef is imparting on the would-be future assassin for
Become
hire.
a capitalist instead.
Assassin for hire. This is the key part. Assassin for hire. They do it for money. He's imparting upon him the wisdom of you exchange money for service.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. In a village that runs off of hiring their military out and him wanting to become a military personnel that hires himself out for money, he is imparted upon the fantastical, life-changing wisdom by a ramen chef that you have to trade money for service.
Truly astounding.
This is truly
No
advice.
no shirt, no shoes, no ramen.
Indeed. This is truly advice that is clearly massively life-changing. Advice that he would not have received from anyone else in any other point of his time of his life. Like literally, no one at any point in time during his attempt at becoming a soldier for hire would ever tell him that you should exchange your ability to do something for money. Let that sink in.
Well, I mean,
Naruto,
yeah,
you're pretty
like,
good at murdering people in their sleep. You should do that and get paid.
You should
Let's
start
be-
doing that for money, as
Let's be
opposed
fair,
to
though,
for
Sneaky.
free, as you've been doing it so far.
it's not like they have any economics courses in Konoha.
Yeah, no, actually, Konoha, no economics courses at all. Their curriculum
Yeah.
is actually exactly like Hogwarts, in
Yeah.
where they teach them how to brush their nose with their teeth and how to shit in a pot, and that is the extent of their teaching.
Whoa,
Exactly.
whoa, Sneaky, you think they got to pot shitting?
It was a consequence of the amount of times they ate food that was British.
Yeah. Understandable.
It was a mandatory subject, you see. They had too many people shitting in their pants for too long.
I mean, that's just tradition, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was
The laundry
tradition.
staff, Sneaky, the laundry staff couldn't keep up.
Yes,
Even with magic, it was too
that was the
much.
problem. Yes. Even for magic, the British shit was proved to be too powerful.
Don't like where that's going, but alright.
There's a reason all the wizards wear brown robes these days.
Indeed. What in the actual fuck? I'm just scrolling through. Alright, so I'm gonna leave a review. At
That was fast.
no point in time during this farcical attempt at storytelling did I not want to commit
Triple
Sudoku.
homicide. A murder-suicide, I guess.
as your ability to tell a story
What's it called when I seek
And
to honorably kill someone else
your-
for their own sake?
Honor
Assisted
killing.
suicide.
You might also want to look up the Muslim word for it because they do that a lot.
Yeah.
No, but I'm sure someone pulled it in Japan too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had, the assistants.
Let's see.
Det är seppuku.
Killing. Word for killing someone to preserve their honor. Alright. Yeah, honor killing. It's just honor killing.
Oh,
Yeah, it depends on whose honor you're preserving. Yeah.
I'm preserving my honor by proving you're a bitch.
An honor
Exactly.
killing or shame killing is the murder of an individual outsider, either an outsider or a member of the family, by someone seeking to protect as what they see as the dignity and honor of their family or the individual.
Yep.
Yep.
Pretty much.
At no point during this farcical attempt at storytelling, I'll add some proper comments in there, did I not want to commit Sudoku, as your ability to tell a story and your ability to grammatically do so is so withered, so what's the word I'm looking for? When something becomes like it like shrivels up from disuse.
Atrophied?
Atrophied, yes. So atrophied that I fear even reading this review might strain your brain far too much. So I apologize for any sort of mental strain this review has inflicted on.
No, Sneaky, you can't use a word like inflicted or atrophied. You gotta use small words.
Yeah. Small brain words for monkey brain people.
Alright. And post review. Alright, glad we got that story out of the way. Didn't even have to read
Thanks.
the whole thing. I just hated it that much. I just moved on.
Yep. Yeah.
Watch me
I'm gonna
go.
post an old meme I made years ago.
Okay, let's see
There we
here.
go.
Harry Potter High School DxD, a Bleach story, a Fate Stay Night, Puella Magical Madoka.
That sounds horrible.
Let's do it.
Madoka? Oh
Yep.
no.
Fate Madoka.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we already had
an
an entire event of that.
Okay,
Like-
Mr. Sneaky.
Okay, so here's the thing. It wasn't actually an
Yeah.
event, but it was an incredibly depressing magical girl event, so it's the same thing as Madoka.
True.
So this is a Fate Stay Night Madoka story called Embrace Wishes by Inkreal. A
Oh.
writer.
That sounds familiar.
A writer on Catfish's.
Ah.
Oh no.
That's why it's familiar.
Yes. This is
Excellent.
it. The final loop. Homura does not know how this will end, just that it will. With a man who lost all hope long ago by her side, she will have to fight against both friend and foe alike in order to claim what she truly desires from the Grail. Featuring Emiya, Madoka, Homura, and the Kyuubi. 3 chapters, 18,000 words, 57 favorites.
Weak.
And so he starts off with that classic disclaimer that I mock everyone for. You're on a fanfiction website. I think we can figure out that you're writing fanfiction. It's really weird how that works.
Yeah, wow.
Now, I mean, if
He's
you're
writing
posting...
fanfiction on the fanfiction website?
Yeah,
Wild.
I know, right? It's so weird.
Bro, never could have seen this coming.
The end of Mitsuhara had come once again, and Homura was alone to stop it. She had managed to convince Madoka to not make her wish yet, even though her friends had died in front of her. And Sayaka had transformed into a literal monster powered by despair. Now all that remained was to kill, well, that word.
Okay, hang on. Walpurgisnacht?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Walpurgisnacht.
see.
Walpurgisnacht.
I
I don't know what you just said, but how dare you insult my family like that?
Yeah, Walpurgisnacht.
Yeah. You deserve it, faggot.
I like that it gets worse
Walpurgisnacht.
every time Sneaky tries.
Yeah. Walpurgisnacht.
Unfortunately, every time she tried had so far ended in her own or Madoka's death at the witch's hands. She'd even tried to trace where it had come from initially, though that didn't really work. The creature seemed to appear and disappear at random, leaving destruction wherever it went. People often attributed the after effects of the witch to massive storms, the last of which had hit the Gulf section of the United States in 2005, killing thousands, and probably feeding off the souls of collective misery it caused, leaving none the wiser. I don't know why this is relevant.
What? Huh.
Which is like, yeah, BT dubs, just thousands of people just also died from, just
Yeah,
because.
you know,
It's like, okay.
good old.
It happens.
And what does this have to do with Fate's Stay
Okay,
Night?
and people dying? Bro, cringe. That's so last year, man. Come on.
People dying in Fate's Stay Night? Who'da thunk that, aye?
You can't
Yeah,
stop
different
it, you
times.
know. A small, strange combination of cat and rabbit said to the girl as she surveyed the beginnings of the monster's rampage. I might not be able to, Kyubi, but I can still try, Homura said, responding to the fuzzball. If only because that's what she would do. She added silently. Thankfully, the Kyubi could only hear sent messages through telepathy. She leapt off the side of the building she was standing on, and leaving the alien to watch her battle. She bounded towards the abomination as quickly as her legs could carry her, barely alighting on one spot before leaping to the next. Yeah, so basically she's running towards it and shit's exploding. And she's shooting rockets at it and yada yada.
Normal.
And then she's like, "Come and fight me!" And then
For some reason, it's dumb enough to respond.
it did.
Alright, bro.
And then so
Step
she
up,
shoots it
fool.
a bunch more, and then and the monster runs after her. And Homura's like, "Man, I gotta get to my artillery, otherwise I have no chance against this thing. Maybe she can pump more lead into it." Would the Kyubi not just get ganked if it stepped a foot in Nasu by the counterforce? Also, wouldn't Homura be very paranoid about wish-granting magic things?
Yeah, yeah.
Both are
if you-
solid points and proof as to why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I brought this up, by the way, Jen, to the author when they first proposed writing this story. And they're like, yeah, but then the story wouldn't happen.
No shit.
That's a fucking sign.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, it's very likely that the Cube would just immediately draw aggro, so
By both
Maybe
Gaia
consider that.
and the counterforce.
Yeah.
Uh,
Gaia and Alaya.
no, well, I don't think Gaia would care. Cube isn't really a threat to the world itself, but it's definitely a threat to humanity.
I would say, in
Aren't
fact,
the big
there's a decent
witches
chance Gaia
breaking
might be
Gaia,
like,
though?
hey, welcome to the club.
Yeah, except for the fact that the only reason why creatures from the other planets are even on Gaia is because Gaia allowed them to be. Gaia isn't
There's
exactly...
only a few of them, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's only like one from each planet.
If that, because only in notes, I think, when Gaia fucking died. He did the types come in, and even then, it was only one
No,
per.
Ort and VV are both there in Tsukihime, I believe, and Guy isn't dead then.
I was talking about notes in the example,
Mm,
and
Yeah.
those two are one from each planet.
Yeah.
The inner.
This is just like the problem with Nasuverse.
yeah.
There's like
It's so
84
fucking
different
dumb.
conflicting canons.
But the point being is that they were only there by the grace of Gaia. If Gaia didn't want them there, they
Yes.
wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but again, like, Guy would probably just be like, well, you're literally doing nothing. If anything, Cube would kind of help since Cube's entire purpose in life is to try and stop entropy. Kind of what its species does, in fact. So Gaia might just like, yeah, no, you can chill.
Hey, vibin'.
Don't some of the witches?
I don't know that
though,
Gaia would ever
break
help
the earth,
Cube, but
though?
I can't see Gaia saying fuck
the
off.
the issue is that in Nasuverse, the laws are the laws the way they are because of how much magic's in the air and
Nope.
shit like that.
Double bot.
Oh, nice. Ban them both. Bigfollows.com.
Smallfollows.com.
Yeah, I would
Like
say,
your
listen,
small
I don't want
penis.
big follow. I want a small amount of followers. I don't want a suspiciously large amount of
Yeah.
followers.
Gaia, the thing is entropy doesn't really exist in the same way. Like, it doesn't really exist in the same way in Nasuverse as it does in, say, a normal universe.
I don't think that's ever explicitly like stated. Well, I mean, this being Nasu, this might be in some obscure fucking book where he said entropy doesn't exist there.
No, I'm not
It's
saying it
just
doesn't
mana
exist.
going away.
It exists in a different way
Yeah,
than.
well, here's the thing: if Cube's entropy stopping plans could also stop the loss of mana, then Gaia would definitely help. I just can't see a situation where Gaia
Right.
tells him to fuck off. Is all.
It's just
That's it.
the
Like
thing
Gaia
is like
neutral, I think, at best.
right.
If Cube shows up.
But the thing is that the whole thing behind it, the loss of mana, is that gods and dragons and etc. by merely existing generated mana, and they didn't require any resource input to do this. They just no input, output achieved. And with their death, less mana was being generated and actually started being used, and yada yada yada. So Gaia's entropy is actually derived from the fact that it's not the age of gods anymore, and it's not the age of monsters anymore. And mana does casually violate the laws of physics, such as actual entropy, to the point where an object created with mana in cooperation with Gaia during the Age of Gods wouldn't be subjected to entropy, period. Because Gaia can just tell laws of physics to fuck off as long as Gaia wants to. And has the energy for it. Which, previously was gained from gods generating energy. Which apparently some of the gods now are actually robots from space or some shit. I fucking hate new Nazi lore, honestly. I loathe it.
No, it's just smokes more crack. The story.
Literally, the Greek gods were actually machines from space that were meant to harvest planets. Hold on.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
And then because
It's out
people believe them to be gods, they were affected by people's faith in them, and they ended up shedding their machine forms to turn into half faith, half machine creatures.
Sure.
It's just like
All right then.
it's so fucking weird. I don't like new Nasu lore. I really don't. So anyway, walls of text. She's fighting Wapperschnat.
Walpurgisnacht.
Yeah, the Jabberwocky. We get it.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Chupacabra.
So anyway, she's losing, and she's like, "Damn it! Why do I keep losing?" Her will kill the monster to save everyone, even if it costs her
Well, it's
her
those
life.
damn whippersnappers.
Indeed. Yeah, don't forget Attila the Hun and Nasu. Yeah, I know. No, I know. Nasu never forgave Attila the Hun.
Based. Fucking Attila. Ruin Rome.
When in Rome, burn it to the ground.
True.
Become Attila.
Well,
Become ungovernable.
Excuse you. When in Rome, cower there hiding from Attila's Huns until they all catch the Black Plague and die.
I mean, they didn't, but yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Smaller plague.
So as Homura was sitting there complaining about never being able to defeat the undefeatable monster, the Holy Grail
Kinda how that works.
activated.
I can't kill Cthulhu!
Boo-hoo.
The Holy Grail heard her prayer and activated.
Not... well,
What?
actually, I mean, I guess if this Walpurgis snack thing is there, the Holy Grail might be like, you know what, there's enough dead people. I can proc.
The time had come for a new
not
Holy Grail
really,
war,
no.
and it's gonna get interesting. And then Homura became a master in the Holy Grail War, and she summoned Emiya.
Wow,
Oh.
this is so original.
Damn, bro. I feel I got me dying of excitement over here. What will happen next?
Will Emiya be a sad, cynical, depressed bastard?
Yes.
Perish
Damn,
the
I didn't
thought.
see that coming. So original.
That's some fucking M. Night Shyamalan ding dong.
So
Twist.
the Wapperschnat was confused that Homura disappeared in front of him as Archer saved her.
Amazing. Riveting storytelling.
And Archer's like, alright, I'm gonna go 1v1 the Wapperschnat. You stand here. And Homura's like, wait, you can't fight the Walpurgisnacht? It's too strong. And he's like,
I mean, that wasn't
bitch,
too bad.
please. You are pathetic and I am awesome. Watch me.
Now, to be fair, that is correct.
True.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
He's not.
Could have been a bit less rude, but
So anyway,
Oh, yeah.
he's
Sneaky
like,
flair.
wow, I've seen a lot of things in my time, but the Wapperschnitter was new and unique, and I've never seen that before. But he's like, fuck it anyway, I'm just gonna use my reality marble right off the bat.
no,
Yeah,
you know what?
motherfucker.
I appreciate that level of threat response. I have never seen this before. Reality marble.
Alright, time for overkill.
Yeah, it's like, alright, Koreans are crossing into South Korea. Nuke 'em.
I'm not
So,
sure what this
um,
is, but I do know that I have a nuclear bomb.
Indeed.
I don't know
Make
what this
MacArthur
threat
proud.
is,
Fair
but
enough.
I do know that most things don't live through a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Now, could Kirito... Kirito, what the fuck, brain?
So
Oh.
Kirito.
I was thinking of edgy sword boys, so, you know.
Fucking Kirito. My favorite character from Fate. Kirito the Black Swordsman.
Of course.
Saber of Black. You know,
There you go.
exactly.
Much more interesting story, you must admit.
Okay, that was actually a good story, though.
Wait, someone made that? Of course someone made that.
No,
mean,
it was, yeah. Shiro ends up summoning Kirito from the
Yeah.
SAO arc, and it was actually good. It's a completed story too.
Oh, shit, can
Oh.
you link me that?
Yeah, well, that wasn't that one where also where there was some like disgusting power escalation for Shiro.
Yeah,
I think you sent me that one.
yeah, I did. Long time ago.
Why are some of the best fics involving Shiro always disgusting power scale wise?
Because most authors don't
yeah.
want to sit around for 90% of the story where Shiro's fumbling around like a dipshit.
It's not wrong.
Man's got a point.
Because, Shiro only actually gets awesome at the end of some Roots of Fate Stay Night.
Yeah, you mean 2 out of the 3?
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, he projects all the big-ass swords that everyone knows and loves, and he stabbed the living shit out of the Whippersnatter. And, yeah, that's about it.
It'd be like that.
It died.
Alright then.
Everything bled white or something. And
Where I
then-
drink 40k,
then we get a
reality
scene
is
change.
bleeding.
Reality is bleeding again.
Oh,
Hey, boss! The magic reality asserting device is on the fritz again. The walls are bleeding. Okay, so what? That's normal.
You know, I have
No,
to
they're
say,
bleeding people. Oh, okay, I'll go look.
I have to say, I'm kind of glad the magic does not exist. Because a definite call that Max would be getting from me is, Max, reality's bleeding again. I need you to de-bleed it,
yep.
to undo the blood.
Sneaky would be the gamma level psyker that accidentally causes things to happen as he goes. Not because he's trying to destabilize things, not because he works for chaos, but because, oops, I thought about chocolate frogs, and now they're falling from the heavens.
Whoops.
Happening again.
So,
Sneaky, when the Inquisition wants to punish upstart interrogators, they assign them to watch you.
Indeed.
No, please, no.
Indeed. Yes. Hold on. Let me fix this.
I had to share something to that more.
Oh, this is gonna.
I mean, that's how you know it's good.
Oh boy. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, it burns.
At least, I mean, that's how you know it's working.
Ooh. So anyway, he and Homura end up in a Ubisoft loading screen.
Oh,
Oh, no.
damn, that's rough, bro.
Yeah, that sucks.
And then
Alrighty.
they load into a hospital room.
Damn, bro.
Oh shit, well, at least they're in Assassin's Creed 1, so there's a decent story.
And then she's like, shit, Archer's still here. Despite time being reset.
Did you think something as simple as resetting causality would stop the Holy Grail, child?
And Archer's like, you have a lot of explaining to do. Then I'll tell you what happened and what you just caused. So, apparently, Homura's wish to beat the Whippersnapper caused a Holy Grail war to occur.
By herself, with one person, eh?
Yes, her alone, wanting to kill the Whippersnapper, caused the Holy Grail to wake up and cause a war to occur, yeah. Yep. And Archer also self-summoned into the war.
That sounds I don't know. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
All right, kids, don't self-summon in your basement. God's watching.
Some of you reading might notice that Unlimited Blade Works wasn't functioning normally. You see, that's because Unlimited Blade Works was interacting with the Wapperschnat's own reality marble, Labyrinth. That's not how reality marbles work.
No, it's really not. Best we figure when a reality marble goes off inside of a closed space, it still overwrites that area.
Yep.
So if you're not sure if the other guy has a reality marble, just hold yours. That's the trick.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, there went Arn.
Yep. You headed out.
Try and shame.
Yep. So, now as for needing to draw a summoning circle to get servants. You see, in this story, I am changing that. The owner of the house that was going to summon one prior to the arrival of the Walpurgisnacht had to leave, and so the summoning circle was just there.
I hate Gaijin Entertainment. Fuckers crashed my PC. Contempt should be more thunder.
So, yeah.
Indeed.
So literally, someone was going to be summoning a servant for a holy grail that wasn't going to manifest. And Homura just so happened to land in that house while fighting the Wapperschnat, awakening the Grail and allowing the ritual to instantly activate.
Yes.
And that's why Emiya was summoned.
Sure. Why not?
So all checks out. I see no problems here,
Yeah,
except for
Alright.
whoever's mic is crackling.
That'd be hard.
bro. Hang on. Better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I moved it further away.
Alright, I'm going to go grab
And it's gone.
some water.
And it's back.
Yeah.
Wait. Hang on. A lot better?
Yes.
It's my fan spinning back and forth. It's hot as fuck. So if
Boy,
it
do I know
crackles
that.
It is
now-
back.
Yeah, it's the fan. Right, fine. Guess I will die of overheating.
Or you
That's
can just
okay.
push the talk on.
Hey, that's the true streamer
Because,
commitment.
I forget about push to talk, honestly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm gonna put up the next story, and then you guys can all suffer looking at it, and I'm gonna get some water.
Oh no.
Alright, what has he got for us?
Alright.
Oh, good. We start with "It was a dark and stormy night." Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mass
heck
First
yeah.
into the story.
That's the
Oh, it's
Effect
Mass
prototype.
Effect prototype.
Yeah, no, don't care.
This is a way to end off.
Yeah.
Whew.
Alright, let's get to it, boys and girls.
Let's get gaming.
My kingdom for a pair of lungs.
I mean, not how that works, unfortunately for you, buddy.
Yeah. You're gonna have to, I don't know, go to Albania and kidnap some random guy to steal his lungs. But you know, that's not expensive.
So,
Is it unethical to steal someone's lungs?
Not in Albania.
this is a Mass Effect prototype story.
Yeah, we gathered as much.
Called Child of the Virus.
It was a dark and stormy night when the Walpurgis snacked put what's his face into the other what's his thing, and that's how we got this story.
Indeed.
Yes.
Alex Mercer died 90 years after the second outbreak. Of his own volition, self-imposed starvation. Now, one of his created children, my not necessarily good guy OC.
Oh boy, the phrasing there is just lovely, isn't it?
Finds himself living through the First Contact War, and many other interesting events. It, it might include a romance, if I feel like it. And there will be definitely horrific violence. Updated to M, due to violence.
Amazing.
Keyword catcher. Von Neumann. John. AU. Somebody's treating it like an AO3 story.
Yep, that's AO3 bullets to the head.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I just came up with it.
27 chapters.
I will take royalties for it though, Sneaky. So don't use it too much.
164,000 words. 1,000 favorites. And it updated over the course of 1 year. And it is now completed.
Amazing.
Let's read the reviews for this wonderful story. Fucking
Oh,
bro.
Sneaky's losing a lung. That can only be a good sign.
No, I was laughing.
You okay there?
Yeah, Sneaky, your laughter is synonymous. Ah! Christ, my foot.
Alright.
With pain.
Yes. I was attempting to move my chair, and I got the skin of my heel caught in the wheel.
Damn.
Ah, yes, Biomass Effect. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Jim. Yeah, that was a good story. Why does every fanfiction I read always have to shove theme music into the fight scenarios? Fucking cringe. Bruh. Who would be stupid enough to have those who cannot fight pirates off on their ship? Fair enough. God. Just coughing up white foam at this point.
I mean, that could actually be a good sign. It's entirely possible you're coughing up scar tissue. Which would be a good thing.
Yeah. I would still like to stop dying.
But that's what I'm saying. It could, in fact, be a sign of healing.
Right, I'm out. See you later, boys.
Okay.
Later.
It always bugs me that no fanfiction author uses gravity in the ships in a weaponized manner. Boarders coming on the ship, anywhere a crew member isn't standing, boom! Just use 100% gravity pulse. Ah, yes. Selective gravity.
Yeah, I don't think that works the way he wants it to.
It definitely
yeah.
doesn't.
It's such a simple thing. Just, you just choose who gravity affects. Yeah. Why don't more fan fiction authors don't just choose who the gravity affects? Well, you see. Isley, hello. I see you're still not subscribed to my podcast. That Sally Skeen brought a tear to my eye. I am loving this story. I'm really excited to keep reading it. And I had to drop a white review.
What the fuck is a white review?
What? To say
No idea
how
what that
much
means.
I love what you've done. What? I am totally picturing him saying that every time the ends the conversation or leaves the room. It's so funny to listen to a military man say, "Hack it out." What? Okay. You have too much science in your story. I don't understand what's happening.
You got science in my science fiction, how dare you?
Better than a black
The
review, I
fucking
guess.
the nerve.
The nerve of this person. Daring to leave a white review. Reading bad fan fiction is going to kill Sneaky. The coughing is just his body having a bad reaction to it. No, unfortunately, both
No.
Max and Atin can contest that I was coughing my lungs out long before I started this.
Yeah.
This is going to be my memento mori. You see, people will look on and be like, what the fuck did Sneaky do with his life? And they'll be like, oh, that's 900 hours of shitting on fanfiction. Fucking
No, I'm pretty sure
Christ.
we're past 900, my dude.
We are well
Um,
past that, I think.
Well, it's possible, yeah.
Let's see, we do this twice a week. That's 100 to, yeah, it's 104 per year.
Yeah.
That's 408 times 2. And then you
What?
need to account for probably an extra 100 hours just from how often we've gone over.
That's possible,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, yeah, we're at 900 and some change then.
Yeah. 900
There's so much
hours
audio of you.
of
God,
fanfiction hate.
Sneaky, we could make a deep AI of you now. There's so much voice recording for
Can I
you.
just get an AI to say everything now? Can I retire and get an AI to do this job?
In
what?
theory,
Actually,
you give it a script, yes.
I mean, all I have to do is I just have to feed it 900 hours of this podcast of me, right? And then it'll learn how to make responses like I would to everything. I mean, half the time it wouldn't even be inaccurate because it would be like, this is a good thing, but I'm going to sit here and shit on it for no reason, and the AI would still probably get it right. So, I mean,
There's just one slight problem. You'd have to edit the rest of us out because if you don't, that AI is going to get real confusing. It's going to be bipolar as fuck.
Oh, yeah, true, that's true, that's true, that's really true. Yeah. I don't know, I think subjecting an AI to 900 hours of me talking would probably drive it to rampancy.
No, Sneaky, that's not possible because we don't have smart AI yet. Now, if we had a smart AI,
You
listening to
underestimate my
900 hours
power.
of you would definitely qualify as a torture.
You underestimate my power.
No, Sneaky, I truly don't. You cannot cause, let me be very clear with this statement, the current level of AI to go rampant. It's not capable of it. I think in 20 years.
Tay Mark II now infected with sneaky virus. Indeed. Eight out of 10 biology, 0 out of 10 on physics. Basically, every prototype fic I've ever seen was metazoa, which ignored pretty much 99.9% of all biochemical and metabolic diversity on Earth. What other kingdoms in the domain of life has an obligate requirement of fucking 8 out of the 20 protogenic amino acids? Oh, fair enough, yeah. It is found in every protein in every cell of all biology to survive. An inability to synthesize practically every cofactor in central metabolism, save for lipic acids, that was used by only one enzyme inside the mitochondria that isn't even obligatory necessary. Look up blah 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 and see the example cases. A complete lack of secondary metabolism of any kind that puts even their cousins, the true fungi, above them in terms of genetic and metabolic diversity. Hey man, don't knock it just because we were successful. Look, so basically the guy is saying is that what we descended from, the large ass fucking cells that we descended from, that group together to form larger ass cell clusters, basically are incredibly incompetent at everything they do.
Yes.
And what I don't think this guy realizes is that due to that incompetence is actually the reason why, you know, large creatures now exist. Because the cells were so incompetent at doing everything, they needed so many to successfully do things. So they kept making larger and larger creatures to handle more and more of the organs, to handle more and more of the processes of the body, to segregate what is required for the cell to actually be successful in living and reproducing. It's why you don't have, you know, fungal people moving around. It's because fungus is actually really, really good at living and reproducing. So it never needed to get into large clusters of self-propellant. It just could just stay there.
But Sneaky, on the other hand, we missed out on fucking jacked ass mushroom men. Who can deck a car with a roundhouse. So
I'm okay with this. Yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with missing out on the mushroom men. That's all right if we miss that one. Anyway, certain parasites, your blacklight could do your blah 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 blah, but yeah, okay, whatever. So basically, the guy is complaining about the biology, and that is, to be fair, yes, blacklight is very nonsensical in terms of its biology, so really, as an author writing about the black light, you can get away with not really paying attention to biology. In fact, it's actually better if you don't try and do any sort of biology explanations to anything, because black light is sci-fi. You should never explain sci-fi tech in non-sci-fi tech lingo, you know? Like, oh, this vatometric cell, you know, harvests the quantum foam from the fluctuations in the quantum particle subsets to generate free energy. It's like, okay, sure. That was a lot of fucking words that don't really sound real.
like Star Wars has never like How does hyperspace work? Ship go faster than light. But how does hyperspace work? Ship go faster than light. Sometimes magic force rocks let you time travel through it.
Can't forget the most important part is that usually the special engine that lets you go faster than light is very finicky and prone to breaking and other such various attributes of sci-fi tech. Of it does a super advanced thing, but sometimes it just breaks, and you gotta bash it with a wrench or something to fix it.
No, Sneaky. You have to bash it with the super science hydro wrench.
Right, the hydro wrench, yes, as opposed to the normal wrench.
What are we, barbarians, using a normal wrench?
Yes, only the cool kids use hydro hyper wrenches. Anyway, so the physics bit is actually an important part of what you should really pay attention to, because they do actually reference it in Prototype. With how he cracks the cement and whatnot, because he does supposedly weigh a bunch, because he does eat a bunch of shit, and supposedly heavier, and even the explosion, the biomass explosions that you could do, where you sent like tentacles and stuff out, that was lore wise basically when black light could no longer compress the body anymore, and it entered a state of hypercompression and then hyper decompression, and basically projectile vomited itself as spikes in every direction. So it is affected by physics quite loosely, I suppose we can say. Anyway, so what this reviewer and a whopping 22,000 kilograms of compressed biomass in a body that was meant to weigh only 70 kilograms. My physics center is screaming at me when I see this figure popping out in front of my eyes. That implies a specific gravity of at least 31.42, which is higher than osmium, the densest material that can remain stable against spontaneously exploding in a shower of beta radiation and turning into a ball of plasma. See, kids, this as a writer, you don't need to actually know physics or biology to write a story involving physics or biology. As a writer, you should know physics and biology enough to bullshit physics and biology, where it just sounds like, all right, that's excessive but reasonable. Or you do the other route I was mentioning earlier with most sci-fi tech, and where you just throw a bunch of really similar sounding, like, okay, yeah, sure, words into it to explain why it can do the thing it can do, even though normally, under normal circumstances, that there would be nothing physically capable of doing the thing that you're saying it can do.
And don't forget the other second most important thing: introduce cheating materials.
Oh, steel can't, do the thing we want it to do with the thickness we want to do it. So we made a new material called tungsten hypersteel, and it's a special alloy that's created the technology factory, and it makes the alloy out of tungsten, steel, and carbidium. And then you get steel that is exactly the way I want to use steel, but it's a special alloy now, so no one can complain anymore. that's the shit I complain about with Ruby, where it's just like, it's apparently just normal fucking steel sheets. Like, there's nothing special about their weapons.
Look, even the dumbest sci-fi universe in the world, right?
Yeah.
Warhammer 40,000 bothered to introduce a cheating material.
Ceramite, right?
Ceramite, plasteel, they've got like a bunch of wraithbone. They've got actually like 6 or 8 different cheat materials.
Honestly, personally speaking, I think the more cheat materials you use in a sci-fi, the overall better the sci-fi can be. Because if you truly try and limit, like Halo tried doing this, and where they're like, okay, so then they came up with the ships that use the new steel alloy technique, the sci-fi alloy technique, and suddenly they could make ships they wanted. But the Halcyon cruiser, for example, was an example of them trying to make a ship by normal material standards, where it just used steel and tungsten and titanium to try and build a ship that could travel through space.
Which, of course, resulted in a hilariously overbuilt metal monstrosity, which coincidentally could survive their suicide mission.
Right. But the point being there is that it restricts the creativity and your ability. Like, you can't have the swooping angles of Eldar craft unless it's made out of Wraithbone, because Wraithbone has special properties that just let it be swooped.
Okay, but on the other hand, we got the dope design of the Halcyon class out of that, Sneaky.
And yes, there is that. But if every sci-fi had to do the Halcyon class, it wouldn't be cool anymore.
Yes. I will say it's one of those things where sometimes limits are cool, right? Like, I bring this up all the time, but one of the coolest Metroid bosses in existence, the first time you fight him, he's on a black screen because they wanted to make a super big boss, but they couldn't fit a 16-bit sprite in because they were only allowed 8-bit sprites, so they just made the boss a background sprite, and you fight him in a black arena.
Right. Yeah.
And that gave them the most visually impressive boss at the time, because they had double the number of sprites, double the number of pixels that anybody else could have for their big, fancy, shiny end boss, and he was twice the size.
Right.
And then when you find out about the trick to it, you're like, oh, that's even cooler now that I know the trick.
Right.
But then other times, you can't make a Halcyon class. You can make a Halcyon class cruiser with normal metals. You can't make Eldar bullshit with
normal metals.
Normal metal.
And that's the thing, though, is that's why I liked that's why I like StarCraft, for example, where they're like, oh yeah, Vespian gas and these special minerals can make pretty much all the materials in existence that exist in StarCraft. And it's all about how you rearrange their molecules and how much Vespane to crystals you use to do it. And that creates a bunch of different materials of different properties. And I like that idea because while it's simple, it also creates easy conflict. And if you're going for a action RTS of constant conflict, it makes a lot of sense to do that, because why are they fighting? Shouldn't there be a shit ton of plants with gold and tungsten and whatever other materials they need to mine off of them? Yes, but you see, the super sci-fi materials require these two special materials to create. It's like, oh, okay.
And they're in limited supply.
Yeah, and they're in limited supply. It's like, oh, okay, so they all have to fight over them. Okay, it makes sense. And so you have to do what works for your medium that you're working with. 40K is kind of in an odd place because it's both books and a tabletop, and while it started as a tabletop, and then it also branched off into video games, And they got around it in the video games by just being like, okay, you know what, we're not even gonna have you mine resources. You're just gonna fucking collect these points, and you're just gonna auto collect requisition. And that's gonna give you whatever materials you need, and we're not even gonna try and bother including the materials into the story. Which is, all right, fine, fair enough. There's a lot of fucking materials in 40K, and it'd be really weird if, like, in this action RTS, the Imperials only needed this one material over there. Eldar only needed fighting. It was both material and then not fight each other over it.
Why would I leave my supply of Awesomeonium? They should leave their supply of Dick Stompium to come get me.
And so, book example here. In a movie, for example, I guess we can quickly cover a movie. Star Wars, great example of this. Do they in Star Wars ever describe how anything's built? No, they don't.
Lightsabers. That's the closest we get.
Yeah, movies how they built.
No, but they did it pretty early on in the books.
Books, you have the opportunity and ability to do so. That's not my point. I'm talking about movies.
Yes. Yeah. No, they don't explain how shit works.
They don't explain shit. Oh, we gotta get to the ship. Okay, what's the ship made of? Ship stuff. Got it. Okay, we gotta get to space now. How do we do that? Using the ship space rockets. Okay. All right, we gotta get to hyperspace now. How do we do that? Using a hyperspace engine. Oh, okay. And that's
What's that? Stop asking stupid questions and get in the spaceship.
Right, exactly.
And the rust bucket that did the Kessel Run.
Right, indeed. And that's literally it. That's all they're ever given. And even in the new movies, they're never given, like, oh yeah, actually the reason why doing this is really cool and important is because of the fuel thing, and that was really sketchy and handled really poorly. But fuel, I believe, is one of those few resources you can include into a movie, because it can provide impetus and a source of conflict for the cast. Where we're like, oh no, we gotta steal the fuel from this military facility or some shit so we can get to the place we need to get to and warn the people we need to warn.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. And so, because fuel is easy. Oh, it's made out of hydrogen-3, or it's promethium created out of gas refinement at these toxic facilities. And it's super easy, basically. It's a gas, it's a liquid, it's some sort of, creation at a giant-ass factory, and you put some fucking smokestacks in on it, and they're spewing stuff, and usually it's toxic or whatever. Or maybe you're harvesting a gas giant for it, or whatever. You know what I mean. So, from there, you can get your fuel source, and that's typically the most you should ever do in a movie or TV show. You really don't want to be describing too many sci-fi metals, like, maybe, an enemy shows up or an ally shows up, usually an enemy. You typically want to keep the special materials on enemies so you can have your heroes overcome them. But an enemy shows up and they're wearing Mandalorian Beskar steel, and the bolts are pinging off them, and they're like, "Oh shit, how is that happening? Why is his armor deflecting our plasma bolts? Oh, it's because it's
worldly
Beskar
wise
steel."
person.
Right, and he's like, "Oh, it's because it's Beskar steel. That stuff's unbreakable." It's like, "Oh shit." And so then the heroes triumph over the guy, and you get to feel really good for them because they beat the guy wearing the unbreakable armor. Where if your hero is wearing the unbreakable armor, it kind of really devalues the tension in the situation.
Counterpoint: the Mandalorian does it just fine, and he has full Beskar.
Yeah, but he's not a hero.
He's a merc.
He's, however, still the person that you're rooting for.
Right.
He's the protagonist, not the hero.
Right, but that's my point.
He's a
Right, but I did want to make the important clarifying point of you are still rooting for, right? Most
Right, but
people by
notice
the
that
end of
when
the show,
Yeah, but notice when I specified the hero, not the protagonist.
but I'm trying to point out that someone does not necessarily have to be the hero for them to right by the end of Breaking Bad, most people want Walter White to get caught and go the fuck to jail.
Yes, sure. But my point here is that the hero and the tropes that you need to work around a hero-based character, heroes are typically the underdogs. They're fighting against an injustice. If they're running around in unbreakable armor just stomping on everyone, it's not going to make for a very interesting story. If the protagonist, however, is a morally gray character or a villain, and they're wearing this armor, and you get to have the awesome scenes where they're just totally thrashing other bad guys usually, but also you can turn it into points where you start to really hate this guy because he has this technology, and you're really kind of rooting in every fight for someone to finally get the lucky shot on him. You know what I mean? So you can turn the special sci-fi materials when it's a villain, even if they're the protagonist. You can turn it into a usable thing. But if it's a hero, if it's supposed to be an underdog, you can't just give them OP powers. Especially, but you can in a story though. Shadowversity does this, where the main character, the hero, has a special sword that's a nanometer thin, and it can be a nanometer thin because magic and shit. And
I gotta say, I did actually bother to. I bought and read Shad's book. It's okay.
Yeah,
it didn't go the way I expected it to.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit tropey, but there was some stuff that I really liked.
He's a very tropey guy. He likes tropes.
Well, I was gonna say he believes in the hero's journey, and he writes the hero's journey, which makes something predictable, but he right. The most important thing about the hero's journey is the execution, and he executes it quite well.
Yeah, it's like just because you know that Lord of the Rings is going to end with the good guys winning and the bad guys dying, doesn't mean it's a bad story to watch or read. It does it really well.
Because there's always going to be a twist in there somewhere.
Well, you don't even need
something
a twist.
You don't expect.
You don't even need a twist, though. It's just if you execute the story well, it doesn't matter what tropes you have in it. It doesn't matter that it's predictable. It can still be like, wow, that happened exactly as I'd expected it to. But it was still good to read because it was just written so well.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised with someone like Shad, but some of the themes and topics he covered, I thought he handled very well.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Although there was some stuff he covered where I was like, Shad, maybe you should have swerved on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I honestly, I hope I hope the series does well.
Yes.
But the hero has the special sword, and it works the way it does because he executes it well. But that's because it's a book, not a movie. And in the book, he tells you all about how special sword is made. He tells you how this stuff works. He tells you why it can do what it can do, and it's basically a medieval lightsaber. And in Star Wars, which is a movie originally, lightsabers were not explained. Oh, what's that? It's a lightsaber. What can it do? What can't it do? Okay. And then that's it. That's all you're given.
And then they showed off what some of the things can do for it, but otherwise they left it.
But the point being is that they never explained it, because in a movie, the medium is not open for lots of explanation. I think that's what a lot of movies get wrong these days, is they're like, they gotta explain all this
They go
sci-fi
full
crap. And it's like, no, man, I just
Yeah.
want the sci-fi crap to happen. That's what I'm
Yeah,
here for.
just listen. I don't need you to explain to me how you turned an army of child soldiers into not looking like child soldiers. Just give me my army.
Right. And that's what
Give
you
me
leave
the
it to
army,
the books.
give me the combat, give me the army die.
And that's what brings it all back to the books, is that with the books, you have a lot more room to explain everything. Room to explain things, you should be explaining everything. And because you're explaining everything, you also need to make sure you can bullshit successfully. And in this instance, as this reviewer is saying, you need to know some physics. What is the densest material? This. Okay. Why can't it be denser? Oh, it explodes and turns into a star. Fair enough. So either you introduce a material that can be denser that doesn't explode into a star, or you just don't make your material that isn't, a sci-fi material or fantasy material not the densest thing in existence. Way you want to bullshit it. And when you don't do that basic research to figure out which way to bullshit it, it shows, because most people will be like, that's a really big number, and they'll shrug and move on. But are I don't know, talking about guns, and you say you pull a long-barreled Smith & Wesson 500 from your pants that you had hidden, most people are going to call bullshit on that. Because you either are going to have to describe the gun and what the fuck a Smith & Wesson 500 is to the audience so they can understand how cool it is or what it looks like, and then they'll go, how'd you fit that in your pants? Or you don't describe it, assuming your audience already knows what it looks like and what it is, and know what a Smith & Wesson 500 with a long barrel attachment looks like and why it wouldn't fucking fit in your fucking pants. You look like a dumbass, and then they don't read your story anymore, and then they give it a negative review. It is what it is. If you can bullshit your way through it, that's the key part of being a writer, is bullshitting your way through it. You don't have to be correct.
Yes.
You just have to sound like you're correct. So let's
It helps when you are correct.
I mean, obviously,
But it's
obviously being correct helps you sound correct a lot more. But you don't always have to be correct. You just have to sound like you are correct.
Yes.
So yeah, a nurse was standing at a window closing blinds. Figure was lying in a hospital. Alex Mercer was dying after watching a duplicate of himself lay waste to a city. That's really funny. So apparently Alex Mercer split in two, and then his evil side went on to do Prototype 2. So his good side went on to create James Heller to kill him. Blah blah blah. Mercer created more agents to go fight Blacklight around the world. They devoured the infection where it popped up. Over time, Blacklight and other organizations disappeared. Heller, on the other hand, realized Mercer was still alive and began tracking him down and killing all of his agents, and gained more and more power in the process. Eventually, he found Dana and used her to blackmail Mercer into a one-on-one fight. John, one of the survivors of the Heller hunt, watched Heller holding Donna, now old, and her husband by their necks over the edge of the Space Needle, while Alex pleaded with Heller to let them go. John, Miriam, and Wesley, the three remaining children of Mercer, had chosen that moment to act. In the few moments of action, Wesley grappled with Heller. The other two grabbed Dana and her husband. Heller, yelling about how evil they all were, shot spikes out of himself, impaling Wesley, and as Donna and her husband watched, liquefied and absorbed him. See, this is the problem here with this author's presentation.
I apologize. I must depart.
Yeah. With this author's presentation is that when you consume people, especially other blacklight people, you gain access to their memories. And admittedly, at first, if you're really super pissed and you eat Alex Mercer and you gain all of his memories and you're like, oh, okay, so he was evil. And then you hear about other agents, fighting off Blacklight, and you're like, no way, they're not fighting off Blacklight, they're actually spreading it. So you go there, you kill Blacklight, and you kill the agent, and you eat the agent, and gain all his memories of him fighting off Blacklight. And you're like, this is clearly a plant. Obviously a plant. This is fake memories. And then you do it again to the next agent, and same thing. He was actually fighting Blacklight the whole time. He didn't spread it at all. Then you do it again to the next agent, same thing again. He was also fighting Blacklight, wasn't spreading it at all. And then you do it again to the next agent, and it turns out he also wasn't spreading the virus. And despite all this, you are still insisting that they are totally spreading the virus, and they've only perfected the method of feeding you fake memories of them not doing any of the things you were accusing them doing. And so your solution to this problem is to kidnap the guy's sister and her husband and threaten to throw them off a building if he doesn't fight you in a one-on-one. Because he's evil for reasons. Despite you having the memories of both the evil Alex Mercer and all of the agents that didn't work for him, that had memories of not working for him ever. You still vote Democrat. I mean, still think Alex is evil, despite all evidence pointing to everything but that. So that's a very interesting take, is basically what I'm trying to say. So yeah, he eats Wesley. Mercer shouted for his children to run away, and then he attacks Heller. And then John, carrying Donna, nodded to their creator/mentor and runs away. Fight took less than a minute, with Alex victorious, having killed James. So if James was going to be so easy to beat this whole time, why didn't Alex just up and kill him? Even though he was hunting down everyone, even though he hunted down Donna, even though he did all of this bad stuff. At no point in time did Alex, who apparently easily beat James, go, maybe I should just, stop him. This is what I'm talking about with setting up your stories. The bad guy is so easily beaten by the not bad guy. Why didn't the not bad guy beat him earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Because Alex isn't the sort of person that's gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna kill this guy because that'd be wrong. Killing is bad. Alex doesn't have that morality. Especially if someone like Heller is going around stopping him from stopping Blacklight. from erupting in places, according to this author, which is what happened. But it just, why? Like, why wouldn't you stop him earlier? Why now? Donna hugs him, and Alex is like, I want to die. And they're like, what do you mean, how? How are you gonna die? And Mercer's like, I'm going to never eat again, and then when I die, one of you will eat me. Which, I mean, it's a little weird. So this is the part where blacklight is a sci-fi material. It's a virus that can apparently mimic cells, including creating iron armor, which it can then reconsume. Somehow, it can also make steel armor, which is kind of weird considering that you would have to molecularly organize iron and carbon to create the steel, and then you would have to be able to eat steel to reabsorb it. It's just really weird shit, okay? It's a bunch of shit that viruses shouldn't be capable of doing, because we also have the canon ending of Prototype 1, in which Alex is reduced to a small stain on the ground, and he eats a bird, and that's how he survives and gains more mass over time as he just starts rebuilding himself. So this proves that you aren't just a virus puppeting a human body. It's you're literally remaking all of these specific molecule configurations and mimicking cells somehow, despite being a virus. And this is why blacklight's a sci-fi material. With that being said, there's no reason why not eating would require one of them to consume you. Like, this is why, writing a story, a physical story, a book about a game is not always going to end well, because you start having to explain to the audience how your idea works. Hey Stanish, welcome to the late night section. You start having to explain how your sci-fi materials work, and usually game-based sci-fi materials don't make sense in terms of being able to bullshit explain them, especially biological ones where it's like, oh, it's a virus, but it can just do everything that viruses can't do arbitrarily for no real reason, and we're never really given indication that turning into
Don't
armor.
explain your dumb fuck ideas if you're not good at it.
Right, basically, yeah.
Don't try if you're not good at it. Is what I mean. Like, literally, this is what you do. Let your audience make theories, and then choose the best of those theories, and then you write that.
I mean, that's more or less what Gray and I have been doing.
Yeah, that's the big brain play. Like, you let your audience theorize, and then you take their theories, and then you just run through which one works best with your story, and then run from there.
At least once per chapter, an audience guy will come up with some theory of putting it all together. I'm like, oh, and I'll say to Gray and DMs, I'll be like, fuck Gray, that's a really good theory. We should use that.
The first one was it's just Kel'Thuzad. It was the one that
Yeah, it was
talking.
Well, that doesn't really sound like the Lich King. That's probably Kel'Thuzad. Yeah, you're right. Nailed it. Yep, totally.
That guy's just. You just start like, and then they feel special because they got it, and they're never gonna leave you as a writer.
Absolutely, you nailed it, reader. That was definitely what we were aiming for. Shit, quick change.
You shout them out in the post and everything,
Yeah.
calling out that person. They got it.
Multiple times, people have been like, I'm like, there was one section when Taylor was in Crystal Song, where it was supposed to be the Lich King, kind of like, you know, looking over his shoulder, you know, just being like, I'm investigating you, basically. And then someone's like, oh man, is that Yogg-Saron, the Eldritch God of the Dead, looking at her? I'm like, wow, that sounds way fucking better than the Lich King. That's what we're going with instead.
Yes.
Oh god, yeah, and it's definitely
We never
100%.
confirmed that, by the way.
Oh,
that was
no,
great, though.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't confirm it on purpose because it wasn't relevant until way later.
Yes, and we're still not there.
But yeah, we basically just went through this Stanish where I was talking about how in movies you never really want to explain any of your sci-fi stuff. You just be like, yeah, this is the hyperdrive, it does hyperdrive stuff. This is the spaceship, it looks like this. Don't question it. And this is the special sword, it does special sword things. This is the gun, it shoots. And that's all you need to know about any of that.
But yeah, basically, like, just if you're not smart enough, if you're not creative enough to come up with it, don't do it.
Yeah. But anyway, so then this guy goes on to meticulously explain how to kill the blacklight virus using the power of biology.
I've never even played Prototype, and I know better.
Yeah. So anyway, he had 2 remaining OCs. Mercer had created 2 remaining OCs. And one of the OCs was absolutely in love with Mercer. And so when Mercer declared he was going to starve himself to death, she decided to stay by his side for the next 40 years and had sex with him a bunch, despite both of them being viruses.
Author, do you have issues that we need to know about?
And then John pulled his nurse disguise off, feeling relief as the female shape shifted back into his male shape. He pulled up a stool and sat by his creator. And he's like, oh man, sorry John. Are you sure you want to stay as I die? Yeah, Alex, you are all I have left. I want to stay with you as you die. So this is the thing. If Alex actually wanted to die, all he would have to do is let someone else consume him. That's it. There's no special requirements. You can just do that.
You don't need to be sappy shit.
But the reason why the author is being sappy is because they're trying to inject emotion into the story where your audience isn't even caring about the story yet. So you're like, oh, care about these characters that are dying. No.
Fuck off.
And on top of that, he's trying to slip time skips in there. So this is a Mass Effect Prototype crossover Stanish, and basically what the author is trying to do is he's trying to slip in time skips so we can get to the part where Mass Effect happens from the part where Prototype happens. Where it's like, oh, 30 years passed, 4 years passed.
Honestly, one of my least favorite types of. Like, why?
Yeah, it's completely pointless.
This does not work.
Yeah, it's completely pointless. Yeah, he just wants his. Basically, so he made an OC that backstory is random John Doe. Alex Mercer turned him into a runner like him, and gave him all of these powers, and he has all of this knowledge. Alive for 300 years, so he has a master's in every subject. Basically, he's just trying to bullshit him why his super original character is mega powerful. Do not steal. It's
Yeah,
The normal
big
shit.
wink. Big wink.
yeah. So, Alex is like, when you eat me, remember to put my grave on Mars. And he's like, yeah, I got you. Promise me, John, you'll prevent humanity from going extinct. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Actually prevent all intelligent species from dying off. Be a superhero, John. And then Alex dies, and John eats him.
This is dumb.
Yeah, and so anyway, yeah, that's about it. And that's where the chapter ends. Zero hook, zero reason to read this story. Absolutely a garbage premise. Absolutely a completely uninteresting story from start to finish. Utterly garbage. There is literally no reason anyone should ever read this story. And yet 1,000 people have favorited it. Pathetic.
People are worse than Andros. That says a
Sounds
lot.
less of an OC and more of a self-insert fan wank. I mean, yeah, pretty much is. And so the last topic I want to quickly cover before we end up tonight is this. Why I'm fucking right. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the part where I spin around in my chair and shout, fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right. So as we can see from this tweet here, a deviant artist who made OC's Do Not Steal was hired by a comic industry, and they allowed her to create her own character and put it into the actual canon story. And not only was the book it was introduced in the lowest selling TMNT book in the current run by a massive amount, her own spin-off series where she now ignores the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and writes about her special ninja Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle that is the true ninja of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who hides in the shadows and delivers justice upon the cruel and wicked and blah 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 whatever. Her series is now being made a spin-off, and it's garbage as well. And they've wasted money. She's wasted. Not only has she wasted money on being hired, not only has she wasted money on all of the people being paid to produce the rest of her book, so, you know, coloring, inking, whatever. Not only is she wasting the money of the people who drove her book to the comic stores, not only is she wasting the money of the comic book stores for even having to buy her book in the first place because of horrendous comic book practices. I'm talking about the industry itself, not this book in particular. Basically, how some of these books have been selling, even though they're absolute garbage and no one's interested in them, the companies tell the comic book stores that if you don't buy X amount of copies of X story, we won't sell you the rest of our stories. And so comic book stores have to buy a bunch of copies of something no one will ever fucking buy. And because of how different websites track these sales, sometimes some of these websites will track sales not by comic book store to consumer, but by publisher to comic book store. So they can be like, look at that. You said Going Won't Go Broke is bad, but my story sold 80,000 copies. It's like, well, yes, it sold 80,000 copies because 80,000 copies had to be bought by comic stores, not consumers. Point being,
I thought at first this was going to be about the what's it called one. The fuck. What are they called?
Marvel?
The daughter of Starfire?
Oh yeah, that's another amazing example of I'm fucking right about this shit. I constantly harp about how fanfiction authors are going on now that they're fucking no longer 14, now they're 20 fucking 2, and they're going on and they're being hired by these goddamn companies that produce your comics, that produce your video games, that produce your books, that produce your movies, and your fucking TV shows. And they're all being hired on because, I have 9 years of experience writing, I have thousands of people that like my story, and they're fucking garbage ass authors. They're absolute trash. Wrong. Because no one ever told them, that no one ever held them to a standard before. Everyone just told them, wow, your story is so amazing, your story is so great, there's nothing wrong with your story at all. And then these fucking people go on and get hired on, and now they ruin all the series you enjoy because everyone else always fucking said, now I say you not as in you people in the call, but you people in general. And everyone fucking tells me, it's just fucking fanfiction. It's just fucking fanfiction. Why are you so worked up about it? It's just fanfiction. Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right.
Yes.
I mean, anyone can tell you this shit is horrible. The industry practices are dog shit. You can't put out 50 books and expect people to buy all of those books, especially when the quality of said books is garbage.
Dog shit.
Especially in a market where, the books that are going to get prioritized are the big books from the 2 big publishers. Never mind any big surprise indie book that's doing very well in that quarter or whatever. This little tiny book is not going to be what sells. And even worse than that, the niche fan groups for, a character like Martian Manhunter, right?
Yeah.
There's people who love him, and that's totally cool, Love the character you love.
Right.
But those people aren't going to latch on to another character when they're already spending the extra money to spend on the Martian Manhunter book,
right,
or the Cyborg book, or whatever it may be, right? That little character that you love because a lot of the lore, or you like the power set, or whatever the fuck it is,
They're not going to go out of the way to buy this new book about an OC that just got made.
And not only that is that people also have a bunch of false attribution. So, an argument that I've heard is that, I can't make my OC because no one will buy it, so that's why I have to change an established character. And the reason why no one will buy your OC is not because it's not interesting, because guess what? Iron Man's an OC. Batman? He's also an OC. Superman, also an OC. Turns out all of the characters you think are established and well-liked are all OCs that were written well enough for people to like them. And if you want people to like your OC, you actually have to write it well. Yeah, it's really weird how this works. They'll buy your Batman AU, they'll buy your Superman AU where they're black and female and they shoot lasers out of their ass. But they're only gonna buy 1 issue of it because then they go, wow, this writing's trash. I'm not going to read this anymore. Because they're not reading the character because it's Superman. They're reading the character because it's a well-written character. Boom. And the name Superman, the name Batman, the name Iron Man carried weight with them for so long, and people could be like, I'm gonna buy the new Iron Man story because I know this company will make a quality Iron Man story because they think that Iron Man's a good property, so they keep making sure the people they hire to make Iron Man stories make good Iron Man stories because they want to keep selling Iron Man stories. It's really weird how that works. Except nowadays, nobody hires because you make a good story. They all hire because you're a fucking woman, or black, or gay, or disabled, which encompasses the previous ones or something. I don't know. That's what they say these days or something. I don't fucking know anymore. Point being, there's always going to be more, and it's always going to get worse.